to happen. That you're going to gain some kind of relationship control. That you are setting a healthy boundary for the both of you. That you are protecting people who are connected to you. That you are exercising your right for space, for boundaries, for alone time, for mental space, right? You may also believe that you are disengaging from conflict. I'm disengaging from conflict. I'm not feeding the fire. The reality, however, is that with a narcissist, depending on the kind of narcissist that you're dealing with, for the purposes of this video, we're talking about vulnerable narcissists. You're not going to win that battle. So those are all the things you think is going to happen. The reality is that you're going to cause a narcissistic injury, which is basically like cutting the narcissist at the core. They don't like those injuries. Because once you injure them, you have now pierced their ego. And they want nothing to do with you. Or they want to get you back and retaliate in some fashion. And so you've kind of triggered their high emotional sensitivity. Their high emotional sensitivity. You also cause what's called narcissistic rivalry. It's kind of like this defense mechanism that goes up once they feel injured. And there's going to be the devaluation stage where you're going to be devalued. You're probably going to be the center of everybody's attention because rumors are going to be spread. There's going to be a lot of talk behind your back about you. There's going to be a lot of emotional turmoil because you're going to hear of things about yourself that you're not going to like. This is how they continue to gain control, right? Narcissistic rivalry. There's going to be this devaluing of you in some capacity, and that's going to hurt you more than it will the narcissist. There may also be challenging of your own intelligence. Challenging of your own intelligence. They're going to retaliate against you by bringing up some mistake that you did or experienced, or bringing up something that you failed at, or bringing up all the failed relationships you've had in your life, bringing up secrets that maybe you never thought that narcissist would ever share. That is considered emotional extortion, emotional blackmail. So you want to understand very clearly before you execute any movements against the narcissist, primarily blocking them on social media and blocking them on your phone. You want to carefully take into consideration the damage that you may be causing to the relationship that can cause you even more pain. Let me also mention here that there is going to be an escalation of manipulation tactics. They're not going to allow you to just talk against them or block them or bar them from social media. They want that control, so they're going to do whatever it takes. And so once you block them in some capacity, they're going to escalate. And that escalation is going to possibly be displayed through their manipulation tactics, which could be stonewalling, refusing to talk to you, gaslighting, making you feel crazy and denying everything that you see in them that is true, going behind your back and talking about you, spreading rumors, ostracizing you, really putting fear in you, threatening to stalk and harm you. The escalation tactics are going to be really difficult. That doesn't mean you should not put up a boundary, but you have to do it in the right way. So here's what I suggest. My first suggestion here is to be aware of your own experience of fog. FOG, and that's fear, obligation, and guilt. If this is a family member that you are blocking on social media through your text messages, the last thing you want to do is start feeling guilty about that. So you want to be able to identify, why am I feeling guilty? Am I feeling guilty because that's my flesh and blood? Am I feeling guilty because that's my ex-boyfriend or my ex-girlfriend? Am I feeling guilty because I have a good heart and I don't want to hurt anyone? I'm doing the right thing, it's just I don't want to hurt anyone, right? So you want to ask yourself, what's going on with me? Why am I feeling guilty? Why do I feel an obligation? I shouldn't be feeling an obligation to somebody who's going to hurt me, right? Somebody who is hurting me, or somebody who has hurt me. I don't have an obligation to you. That's been broken. The moment that you completely broke my heart, the moment you have completely done the opposite of what I thought you were doing, the moment you had that affair, that moment you took me off of the will and out of your state, the moment that you told me that I didn't mean much to you, that was when you hurt me, and that's when the obligation of me to you ended, right? And so you want to be able to clearly look at the situation in those ways. You want to be able to exercise sound and objective judgment in this situation. And you also want to be aware of your fear. Are you afraid of retaliation? Are you afraid that you're going to be disliked? Are you afraid that you're going to be unloved or rejected by other people just because of what this narcissistic individual is doing? So be aware of fog in your life and try to balance it with a proper objective perspective. The other thing I suggest is take baby steps away from this person. Go ahead and slowly set that boundary, right? Because a narcissist almost has to learn, that's classic conditioning in psychology. Remember Pavlov and his dogs, right? You want to make sure that you are conditioning that individual to the new set of circumstances. You don't want to just boom, hit them with a boundary. Slowly set boundaries a little over time, and then go ahead and execute what you need to execute, whether that's no contact, whether that's reduced contact, or completely a barrier, right? I am blocking your phone number, I am blocking your social media, but I have little by little fallen off of your world, right, your planet, and so therefore I am not as much of an important piece in your life, and so now I can kind of execute my boundary a little bit better without being taken advantage of. You want to disengage completely and make sure every engagement with that person is only facts, necessity, or ensure that somebody is there. That can be a neutral individual who can observe what is going on. But disengage, but disengage in a wise way. You want to disengage in a way that sets a boundary, doesn't make you the center of that person's world as much, and you want to avoid re-engaging. So you may go away and that narcissist reaches out to you. Now you have to decide, am I going to respond? Or am I not going to respond? And typically in a situation where there's abuse, trauma, neglect, there's, a lot of disrespect between the two of you, the wise thing to do is not re-engage. When you re-engage, you're reopening the door. So you want to keep it the way that it is. Don't get pulled in. The minute you get pulled in, they can just manipulate every ounce of who you are, and that's not what you want. Research does suggest that, social media is the ideal place for the narcissist. Social media and even group chats and even social forums online. Why? Because again, they can curate their own and manage their own image. They can also put out there all their positive attributes, and so they never look bad, right? They kind of build this identity online that keeps other people in the dark about who they really are. So research suggests that social media is often the number one place that a narcissist can exist and feel good in that existence, and they can also deceive everybody else. Research also suggests that the ego is often kind of stroked on social media because of how many likes a person can get on a post or a video, how many thumbs up a person can get, how many views a person gets, right? How many times their TikTok post has been shared. That strokes the ego. And so the last thing that you want to do is cut or injure that narcissist who is very, very engaged in text messages, group messages, social forums, and online. You want to slowly take steps to protect yourself, to set that boundary, and to move away. These kind of individuals are complicated, right? Stay tuned for my next video on narcissistic grandparents. I think you're going to like it. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.